Okay, so Renfield, again, another one of my most anticipated films of the year. I'm a big Dracula guy. I love just the character, the book, a lot of the old movies, obviously the Gary Oldman movie, which is like one of my favorite reviews that we've ever done on the channel. So when I heard Nicolas Cage's Dracula, I was like, oh yeah, I'm in. 100%, you've already sold me. But it's focusing on the character of Renfield, which is an interesting character if you've ever read... Have you ever actually read the Dracula book?
It's fucked up, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in there.
Renfield is kind of confusing because, like, he's just a guy at the insane asylum that for some reason has a psychic link with Dracula. And I think all these people who make movies don't know how to justify that, so they rewrite it to... He went to see Dracula first, and Dracula made him insane, because they don't know how to justify just this guy in an insane asylum. Yeah, so basically Renfield, we're seeing the story a lot now with What We Do in the Shadows and whatnot, where like there's the familiar that longs to become a vampire, and they're constantly being strung along by their master, which What We Do in the Shadows explores really, really well. Basically, Renfield's been... working with Dracula for years, and he's getting fed up with it. And also, Dracula's not doing a good job of, keeping a low profile and whatnot. He's killing way too many people.
Yeah.
And I do like how Renfield is trying to, at the beginning, he's like, I'm only going to kill bad people. So he's going to, like, group therapy sessions for people in toxic relationships, and he's, like, killing their abusive boyfriends. And yeah, he gets roped into this whole drug cartel thing. He accidentally gives Dracula bad advice. Because he's like, what are you doing? You have no goal. And then Dracula's like, I'll take over the world. Yeah, and like, basically he's got to team up with the cop, and they go on this whole crazy adventure on how to deal with Dracula and the mob. That's basically this plot.
That's a very good plot, yeah.
Joey, how did you feel about this?
Loved it. Well, as you can see from the poster, Cage as Dracula is brilliant, said by Screen Rant.
Yes.
That was me. I said that.
Wow.
And
wait, did you really?
No, I didn't say that. But I know who said it. So I know who said it. But anyhow, yeah. So the 1931 Dracula is one of my favorite movies of all time, and the fact that I think it's like the second scene in the movie, they flash back and reenact those scenes with Nick Cage is fucking sick. And the other thing that I really love about this movie is it's so over the top and violent. There are some of the most violent kills in this movie that I've probably ever seen. Like when Renfield eats the bug, it's how he gets his powers. Mm-hmm. And he attacks like the mob, for instance, in like the restaurant or the hotel. Like limbs are getting ripped off, heads are getting punched off. In all gory detail.
A face literally gets ripped off.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh god, this movie is the best movie I've seen all year so far.
Adam, how did you feel about it?
I was just letting Joey cook for a while before.
I'm sorry, I got excited.
I was throwing him in the furnace now because this movie was kind of a miss for me. Certainly not the best. I mean, I think maybe Joey only saw one movie this year because I don't know how we could I'm just joking, but no, I went in thinking this was going to be great, and it definitely has elements that work very well. The gore, the over-the-top violence, Nicolas Cage going full Cage, always great. And Nicholas Hoult, I'm a big fan of because he's hilarious in The Great. If you haven't watched that show, watch that show. Yeah. I think it's on Hulu. Freaking hilarious. What didn't work for me is I don't know if Awkwafina like owns Hollywood or something. Like, how is she blackmailing some studio executives? How is she getting roles? She is terrible in everything. Like, at best, she's passable. And here, she's pretty bad, and she has a lot of time on screen. I feel like the trailers were very misleading. I wanted a movie about Holt and Dracula and their relationship, but that's really kind of a side quest, whereas it's really a romance at the end of the day between Holt's character and Awkwafina's character.
I will say, I mean, obviously I like Nicholas Hoult. I used to really not like him. I think I started coming around on him with Days of Future Past and Fury Road. Before that, even like the first time he was Beast, I couldn't get into him.
I'm with you, Tony. But I didn't really actually like him until I started watching The Great. Then I'm like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah. But yeah, he's really good. But yeah, Awkwafina, I usually don't like her in the things I've seen, like I said, Shang-Chi is like one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I think, like, especially Marvel related. Like, that whole movie looked like a joke. Like, it looked like it was like a commercial for something. It didn't look like an actual movie. And she was awful in it. But I will say, if I'm being fair, I actually didn't mind her in this. She got a giggle out of me here and there.
I think her character fit well with her personality and what her character like was written to be. I think it's a good fit.
The only non-crooked cop out of the entire precinct.
Yeah.
Her and her sister are the only legit good cops in the whole movie. It was so ridiculous.
It's so outlandish.
Whatever. It was.
But no, I did love the over-the-top violence. The comedy was really good. The comedy landed for me.
Me too.
I love when Dracula shows up at the studio apartment. It's like, how did he get in? It's like, because...
Oh, the welcome mat.
Renfield bought a mat that says, welcome, come in.
I giggled
and I like what you said about putting them in the old footage. Because this is by Universal, which clearly owns that old footage, so they could literally put them in those old movies.
Yeah, they actually used a lot of the actual footage from the movie and then superimposed Nick Cage on the staircase.
Who was the bad guy? Ben
Schwartz.
Ben Schwartz. I wasn't too hype on him.
Yeah, I love Ben Schwartz. He's hilarious, but here again, the whole mob subplot was just a little strange too. I felt like it was unnecessary. And what was with that bizarre shot of the mob female boss, like the one in charge? They did this kind of like slow reveal. Is she from something that I'm supposed to know her from? That they made such a spectacle about this?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yes, okay. She is. Oh my God, let me pull up her name.
Joey, do you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
They did kind of a push in on her. I'm like, oh, who's
Shorey
this gonna be?
Shorey Agdashlo. She's a Persian actress, like she's an Iranian actress. She's like in a lot of things you've seen, but I think she's more like. I always recognize her from the voice first. I mean, getting back to X-Men, she was in X-Men 3. She was the science lady that the porcupine guy kills.
Oh, of course, yeah, the linchpin of the film, science lady.
Right.
Yes.
But no, that
deserves a dedicated shot.
She's more known for like her international stuff, but she actually is in a lot of American movies. If you looked up her IMDb, you're like, okay, I remember her from that. Like, I think she was in Star Trek Beyond. She usually plays like smaller parts in these bigger American movies.
Right. So you're not helping me at all, Tony. What I'm looking for here is I'm looking for like a Scarlett Johansson to turn around, or a Margot Robbie, not the woman that played the scientist in X-Men 3.
I will say I did like that there was a cameo by Caroline Williams from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and a bunch of other horror films. I recently brought her in as my underrated final girl, because I love her as Stretch in Texas Chainsaw 2. But no, overall I had a really good time with this. Nicolas Cage, again, he is having so much fun with this role.
Yeah, he totally is.
And he really, it was one of those things where I'm like, oh, is he not going to be in it as much? Is it mostly just going to be there? But I feel like he was in it the appropriate amount. I thought he was solid all around. Another cameo, the Bishop was the kid from the original Fright Night, which I did not know until someone pointed that out to me. I'm like, holy shit, he looks so different.
Wow.
Which is another movie I covered. That was my birthday episode where Mr. Lobo decided that was my favorite movie. Oh, even though it wasn't. He just the original Fright Night? That's a good one. That's a good one. It's an art house film, Adam, so I think you
then I probably have seen it, because that's
No, I'm kidding. It's not an art house film. It's a really fun 80s film. Tom Holland directed it. Obviously not Spider-Man. The director did like Chucky and whatnot. But yes, so we're midway through, I think, because we only have like 4 films we're talking about.